Let's look at measuring change in populations. And we need to look at the difference between absolute change, which is just a subtraction, and relative change, which is a division. And change can be positive or negative. So some examples here. In 2013, Jerry received 12 speeding tickets. Since then, his driving record has improved and he only had one ticket. So the new versus the old is a change of negative 11. So the number of tickets he received dropped by 11. We can look at that as a percent change or a relative change by just dividing the change by the previous amount. So in this case, the drop of 11 tickets divided by the previous 12 tickets means his number of tickets dropped by 92%. So two things we're going to look at with populations in a spreadsheet is the change in population between time periods, and then the percent change over those time periods. So I'm going to go over to the next part here. And here we have a table of numbers, and often you can highlight and copy information from a table on a web page into a spreadsheet. When you do that, you don't want to copy too much or the spreadsheet will get confused. So I'm going to start just at the beginning of this first letter there of the word at the top and just go to the last number that I need down here. Now it's copying some extra stuff here, but that's okay. We'll fix that. So I'm going to copy that and then go over to my spreadsheet and paste it in. And mostly it goes well. If it doesn't work on your computer, you might need to retype the numbers. You might get some extra things in these columns here. You can just highlight them and delete them. I do want the absolute change column here. I do want the relative change column here. And notice that when I double click the boundary at the top between the column rows, it will resize the column to be just wide enough to see what is in the column, bigger or smaller. So absolute change is just the difference, the new minus the old. So in this case, I want to take my 2010 would be the new one. So to do a calculation, we type equals. So I want to select this number and then the hyphen, the dash on the keyboard, and I'm going to subtract the 2000 population. So here I can see the population went up, so I should have a positive number. Population 20 million to 25 million went up, 15 to 18 went up, 9.9 million to 9.8 million, that one went down. Now here, Google is offering to autofill that, which is cool, which means it's going to copy the same kind of formula down. If your spreadsheet didn't do that, and after you make the first formula, I'll do it again, equals new population minus the old population, just point and click, got to start with equals, enter. And if your computer doesn't automatically fill down, after you hit enter, you click back on the formula, then point to the bottom right corner so you get that plus shape, that's the autofill button, then click and drag down, and that will repeat that formula. So again, the first time I did the formula, it said I'm in row 2, so C2 minus B2. And when it copied it down for me, it changed the 2s to 3s, and then to 4s, and then to 5s. So I'm in the right row. So those are the absolute changes. Relative change is where I take the absolute change and divide by the original amount. So the original amount here would be the 2000 population. And again, my spreadsheet's offering to fill it down. If yours didn't offer to fill it down, then you can click back on the formula, grab the autofill button on the bottom right corner. It's 2 different steps. You're going to select first and then point to the bottom right corner and then drag down. So repeating that, relative change is the absolute change divided by the original amount. And then fill that down. Next, this says to 2 decimal places, and I believe it wants them as a percent. So checking back the requirements here, I want percentages. So that's pretty easy on a spreadsheet. On a spreadsheet, I highlight the numbers I want to convert, and then I just select format as percent. And here it's automatically choosing 2 decimal places. And we could always add more decimal places or take them away using the increase, decrease, and increase decimal options there. So these are the answers I need for my problem. So I can see, again, we have a 400,000 person increase in New York from the 18 million, which represents about 2% of the 2000 population. We have a roughly 4 million person increase in Texas from about 21 million, which represents a 20%, almost 21% increase. And this, in Florida, we increased from 15, almost 16 million by almost 3 million, which represents about 17, 18% increase from 2000 to 2010, whereas Michigan saw a 0.5% decrease in population, which resulted in losing about 55,000 people. Thanks for playing.